What's up, everybody out there in the VC? Craig here with a vinyl, cassette, CD update. Tons of stuff to show. Yeah, let's get started with what's playing in the background. Fire of Unknown Origin by Blue Oyster Cult. My favorite Blue Oyster Cult album. Beat the hell out of this copy. Can't wait to get my own copy here eventually. This is my dad's, actually. Sounds really good for being beaten pretty badly. So, no, I've been kind of a little non-existent with some of the comments and other people's posts and stuff like that lately. Busy between work, band shit, and got blasted with our first big snow of the season, so it's, I hate the winter. So, not too much to show on the vinyl side of things. I think my stores have dried up a little. I think I've pretty much milked what I've wanted out of most of my stores lately. Probably need to give it a couple weeks till I find some more good finds, if you will. But been good for some other stuff between CDs, cassettes, all that other shit. So let's get started. These two I picked up a week or so ago, maybe, yeah, like a week or so ago. This one, another one that the collection, really was unfamiliar with this album until I listened to it. Solid, but what can I expect from one of my favorite bands? The last record album by Little Feat. It's from '75, yeah. One of my favorite songs on it. All That You Dream. I like the live version a little bit more from Waiting for Columbus, but still, solid album. Really, really good. If you like Little Feat, you can't go wrong. And this one I was really, really happy to find. What do I want to say about it? I'll just show it. Stephen Stills' first solo album. Everybody would know it for Love the One You're With, but I mean, it's just a solid album from top to bottom. Really, really good. So if you're a fan of, Stills, you can't go wrong with this album. So I'm really happy to add this to the Stills collection. Let's see here. These two, I've actually been waiting to do this update because I wanted to have more to show, but also I was waiting for these two to come in the mail. So, first one, Mahavishnu Orchestra, Between Nothingness and Eternity. My first actual Mahavishnu purchase. Got pretty much the discography on my computer, but never really dug into them. Been seeing a lot of Mahavishnu in the community, so decided I want to pick it up. Got it for really, really cheap, and the condition is just killer on it. It's well, I really don't know too much about like their history and everything else. I'm pretty new to it, but I mean, obviously I know John McLaughlin, Jan Hammer, and Billy Cobham. Solid names, so how can you go wrong? This album kills. I cannot stop playing it. It's so good. And the other one, I've got this, another one I got digitally. Not one of my favorites, but for the condition, I had to get it. Got into a bit of a bidding war for it, but Midnight Lightning by Jimi Hendrix. One of those '70s releases that Alan Douglas decided to add to Hendrix's existing tapes and all that other shit, which I'm not too fond of. But if you listen to it as a whole, it's a good record. Good solid listen, so, I can't go wrong. And it's Hendrix, and anything I can get Hendrix-wise to add to the collection is always good. So my collection's not that big for Hendrix right now. Alright, so that's the vinyl. On to the CDs. I got them separated into two stacks. One is from one of the places I normally hit up, and the other one is some Goodwill finds. So, really random stuff, so I'm going to throw you a huge loop here. Alright, so let's go a few newer ones. Star War by Static X. Gave the album a listen yesterday. Not one of my favorites, but I mean, I dig it. The only reason I got it was only $4, and it has a DVD with it. And anytime I can find an album that comes with, you know, bonus footage, DVDs and whatnot, I'm always down for that. So there's that. Definitely a big fan of this band, Foo Fighters, In Your Honor. Love this double set. The one rock disc and then acoustic disc. Love them both. Played this to death, so I'm finally glad to add this to the collection. Here's one not a fan of what the band's been doing in the last 6-7 years or so. Really don't like the direction they've taken, but was a big fan of them growing up, and so Issues by Korn. Not one of my favorite albums. I really honestly don't like this album all that much, but I mean, it was only $2, and it was one of the 4 covers. They had three other ones on top of the one that you see all around with the ragdoll and stuff like that. But this was the cover I really wanted, so I was glad to get it. Digimortal by Fear Factory. Another really good listen from one of my favorite, you know, bands of the last, 15 years or so. Not their most solid release, not one I'd recommend to anybody who's just getting into Fear Factory, but really good album. I mean, it's got some good tunes and stuff like that. 2 from Mr. David Gilmour, self-titled, and About Face. I'm more familiar with About Face than I am with the self-titled, but picked them up because they were only $2. I know there's, you know, now remastered versions of them. These are both the originals, but I couldn't pass them up, and $2, why the hell not? So there's those. Here's the Goodwill CD picks. Let's see here. Like Grenades by Incubus. I feel like I keep saying this over and over. Not a favorite album, but I couldn't pass it up for $2. It's got some really good songs. It's definitely lighter than their earlier stuff. I'm a bigger fan of like Science and Make Yourself, but still love Incubus. It's a really good, solid album. Here's a good one. One from my childhood. Coverdale Page. David Coverdale and Jimmy Page. Holy shit. I don't care what anybody says. This album kicks ass. So good. I'm a sucker for comedy, and I was a huge Saturday Night Live fan growing up, and it's really, it brings back memories when I was a kid and shit like that, but I listened to it last night and it brought me back, but it's really They're All Gonna Laugh at You by Adam Sandler. It's definitely one of those toilet humor type of shit, but it's still really funny, and I mean, how can you resist? And speaking of cheesy and everything else, Fantastic by Wham. I've never heard this album. I've heard a couple of the songs. I know it's super cheesy, and I like to make it big a lot more. But 50% off day, Goodwill, so for $1, and it just looks brand new, like they never played it. So why the hell not? Let's see here. On to my one VHS purchase I actually made last week. Roy Orbison, The Anthology. It's basically just a collection of performances, videos, stuff like that. I have not watched it because I do not have a VCR hooked up here right now. I will at my new place, so I'll give it a watch then. But really looking forward to it. You know, I couldn't pass it up. On to the cassettes. Oh my Jesus. Okay. I'll try to run through these as quick as possible. Reposition myself. Parallel Lines by Blondie. It's got One Way or Another, Hanging on the Telephone, Picture This, Heart of Glass. Really good one. I've already got it on vinyl, so I have to get it on cassette. Now, all of these I actually picked up today. So, Dokken, Back for the Attack. Not my favorite Dokken album, but definitely some of my favorite tunes. Heaven Sent, Mr. Scary, George Lynch. Love his guitar playing. Burning Like a Flame, Dream Warriors, Kiss of Death. I feel like there's a lot of songs that just sound like the same on this album, which is kind of sucks. I mean, my favorite Dokken album would be Tooth and Nail, but still, it's solid and it's Dokken. I love Dokken. Joshua Tree by U2. I don't think I need to go into detail. Everybody knows how good this album is. So, aha. Vagabond Heart by Rod Stewart. I love Rod Stewart. I don't care what era, from his time with Jeff Beck to the Faces to his early solo career throughout the late 70s disco shit, the 80s crap and everything else. Love it. Love it all. Speaking of 80s, Living in Oz by Rick Springfield. Give me all the shit you want. Please. Love it. Love Rick Springfield. Particularly love this album. I've got it on vinyl and on CD, so now I've got it on cassette. Good solid stuff. From Rick Springfield to the Singles soundtrack. I'm not a big compilation or soundtrack fan, but I love this movie, and every song on this I just love the fucking death. I mean, Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, Chris Cornell, Mother Love Bone, Mudhoney, there's Hendrix on here, Screaming Trees, Pumpkins, every song. I mean, just do yourself a favor and get this. And while you're at it, go ahead and see the movie too. It's a really good movie. Cameron Crowe, come on. Let's see here. By John Cougar Mellencamp. I'm a huge Mellencamp fan. Always have been, always will be. So, alright. I'll leave that one for last. Part 2 to the Woodstock soundtrack. This is the cassette. Oh, this one had part 2 of the first soundtrack album. So the one with here, I'll show you. Off of this one. Best way I can say it. Not Woodstock 2, not any other re-release. So, this cassette has Hendrix, Butterfield Blues Band, John Sebastian, Sly and Family Stone, Jefferson Airplane, 10 Years After. So, wish they had part 1 so then I kind of had a bit more complete, at least kind of chronological with the tapes, but no big deal. Still cool to have. Alright. Nervous Night by the Hooters. I just picked the vinyl about a month ago or so. I showed it in my first vinyl update, I think. Yeah. So, cool to have that. And Blister Cult, Spectres. Scott, Godzilla, Are You Ready to Rock? Nosferatu. Yeah. Another one to add to the Blister Cult collection. You can never have too much, or, well, you can always have... no, you can never have too much Blister Cult. So, last one, which will lead me into my last thing I showed, Trouble Walking by Ace Frehley. I'm not familiar with this album. Can't wait to give it a listen. I love me some Ace Frehley. I love Kiss. So, yeah. Which leads me to my last thing. I actually just picked up, I'll show the cover, No Regrets, Ace Frehley, his autobiography. I'm about halfway through it. Love every minute of it. I could not put it down. I'm surprised I haven't really picked back up in a couple of days. It's been super busy. But a great, great read. I highly recommend it. If you're a fan of Ace, if you're a fan of Kiss, which you kind of need to be in order to read this, but it's also just a really, really good read on, you know, someone's life, and I'm a sucker for autobiographies. So, that pretty much sums that one up. Waiting on a few things. Got a couple of eBay auctions I'm waiting to see if I win. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Some really, really good stuff. So, once I get those, and if I win them, then I'll be showing those. It'll be a really small vinyl update. I don't really plan on doing too much more crate digging anytime soon. Um, like I said, I've really kind of think I've dried up what my stores have really been supplying. And so, and I'm kind of saving up. I know there's a record show coming up February 12th in South Bend, so as long as they have it and nothing goes wrong, I plan on going and purchasing a lot. The last one I went to was back in August, and I walked out of there with about 30 or so pieces, but I only spent like $50, so I plan on going in with a lot more money and buying a lot more. So, hope everyone is good. If you're getting affected by any winter weather, be safe, stay warm. It's what I'm trying to do, but not so effective, because I obviously still buying music, which requires me to go out in the cold. I hate it. Quick thank you to all of my new subscribers. Keep adding them more and more as the day goes by, so awesome. Thank you very much to each and every one of you. If I haven't personally thanked you, I'm super sorry. So this is my way of saying thank you for watching, thank you for commenting, thanks for subscribing. You guys are awesome, and the more we get, the closer I can get to having my own contests like everybody else is having lately. So, alright, you guys take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.